We in Jamaica, with our high debt rate and negligible growth rates over the past decade, must urgently and collectively respond to the need to stabilize our economy and set ourselves on a path to meaningful growth. Every time I think about that, I'm like, okay, that's what's so new about that? That's what everybody's talking about, right? How do we grow? The importance of growing. And it comes back to the point that I'm trying to hammer in today of moving away from words to action. The transformation that is taking place in Indonesia, in Burma, is not based on words, but concrete plans of action which are being diligently executed. We do not need another plan, but a plan of action that we will implement. Micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises are catalysts for economic development and growth in any state, especially in small economies like ours with major employment and income distribution challenges. Small businesses are the backbone of most economies, and research shows that they account for over 90% of all industries and 50% of gross domestic product worldwide. Jamaica has rightly targeted the growth of this sector as an important component of its overall growth strategy. But as we are all aware, many SMEs do not succeed, or they operate in mere survival mode, and oftentimes are unable to transition into high-performance, innovative organization which accumulate wealth. And there are a myriad of reasons for this. The focus from a government perspective, which I think Minister Robinson pointed out as with respect to energy and the IT sector. The focus with respect to the SMEs is again to create the space and environment to facilitate the development and growth of this sector. There's a beautifully written policy document and plans to meet 2030 vision put out by the Ministry of Industry, Investment, and Commerce. The development of the concrete strategies and actions that need to be undertaken, and the systematic implementation of these would certainly ensure the significant development and meaningful national contribution for this segment. So I, for one, am hoping that the beautiful words will be translated into actual action on the ground. From the perspective of persons already running these enterprises or looking to develop one, a recent article in the Harvard Business Review posited that there are two elementary rules that are determinants as to why a company does well over an extended period of time. Very elementary. Rule number one, better before cheaper. In other words, compete on differentiators other than price. Revenue before costs. The bottom line is that if you want to succeed as a small or medium-term business, or any size business for that matter, you should concentrate on creating value using better but cheaper, and on capturing value with revenue before costs. In order to achieve this, you need to go back to the fundamentals. The key advice the CEO of Netflix is a company that used to rent DVDs through the mail. The CEO, after the company started to rebound, because in the prior year, between 2011 and 2012, the stock of Netflix had plunged from $299 per share to about $53 per share, and Netflix had lost over 800,000 of their subscribers. And he said one of the things he knew he needed to do was to ignore the shiny object and focus on the fundamentals. In line with the return to the fundamentals, the way to achieve the two other rules is a need to focus on innovation and efficiency. However, I think we know that while we can easily come up with definitions of these terms, the actual achievement of these objectives is much more problematic. Within the context of Jamaica, it is primarily in the areas of music, culture, and athletics where we have been successful at executing. And we know it is not by chance, and it's certainly not by eating yam. Sue realized that she had to call out. She also found a way to sell off her products, it seems, long before her mentor. And you get the sense that she will quickly be coming up with different strategies to get back to her rightful status. My work over the past couple of years in Zimbabwe in resuscitating a vegetable dehydration factory and building a vegetable outgrower scheme. And I know my friend here, Leslie, will be saying, but what does she know about agriculture or anything like that? Anyway, this experience makes me wholeheartedly concur with the two rules, and to follow these rules by returning to the fundamentals and focusing on innovation and efficiency. Let me just run through quickly some of these fundamentals. Data, the importance of data. While it is important to be passionate about your business, this passion must be tempered by a certain amount of dispassionate approach. I made mistakes, some very costly ones. I made assumptions as to how people would normally think and behave, which were totally wrong. I accepted certain facts about how the factory functioned and at what level it functioned, which in hindsight were not correct. Your choices as you look at starting or building or growing your company is that you must at all times be informed by hard data. You must have a clear, dispassionate picture of your company's competitive position and profitability formula. You must pay attention to the fundamentals. You must understand and manage the cost drivers and the revenue drivers. And I know all of this sounds like common sense, which it is, but companies fail because of not paying attention to these. Furthermore, many business persons do not keep up to date on the developments in their field. You must understand what your competitors are doing. You must be embedded in networks, and this is one of the beautiful things I think about Katalyxt. It gives you the opportunity to be involved in discussion with peers, with other people who are doing the same thing or have knowledge in the same areas. One of the things I did over the last year was I took a visit to a dehydration plant in the United States, and I took a visit to dehydration plants in China, because I wanted to find out, one, how they were operating, and of course with respect to the Chinese, how can they produce the dried vegetables so cheaply. And just to give you one example, when we were trying to resuscitate the factory, one of the things my team was saying, we have to get the cold rooms up. We have to get the cold rooms up. We have 6 large cold rooms that burn a lot of energy. And one of the things I noticed when I was in the United States and China, there were no cold rooms. No cold rooms whatsoever. They had put in a system where, first of all, when the product comes in, when the vegetables come in, they'd be processed very quickly, so there was no need to store them in the cold room. And secondly, they're saying if they're dried vegetables, why do we need to also store them in cold rooms? But I'm telling you, I was harassed by my team to say that I must spend tens and tens of thousands of dollars to put up, to upgrade these cold rooms. And that's what I'm saying, the experience, the knowledge of how other people are operating are critical to your success. And if you can't travel, use the internet. And it was so good to hear the minister talking about that. You don't even have to own a computer in your own house. They're setting up hubs, they're setting up places where you can access the internet. And if you don't access the internet and use it, don't even think about